In a world of constant change, wisdom serves as our guiding light. More than knowledge, it's the art of navigating challenges with insight. Wisdom fosters sound judgment, meaningful connections, and a legacy of thoughtful choices. It's the compass steering us towards the best version of ourselves, shaping destinies and leaving lasting marks on the world. Here are some famous quotes to make you wiser. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. In 3 words, I can sum up everything I've learned about life. It goes on. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with 1 step. Life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated. The future depends on what you do today. The only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be. The only limit to our realization of tomorrow will be our doubts of today. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that count. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. To succeed in life, you need 2 things: ignorance and confidence. Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. You must be the change you wish to see in the world. Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. The only real valuable thing is intuition. The unexamined life is not worth living. In the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity. The only thing standing between you and your goal is the story you keep telling yourself as to why you can't achieve it. Change your thoughts, and you change your world. To love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance. If you want to live a happy life, tie it to a goal, not to people or things. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. The mind is everything, what you think you become. It always seems impossible until it's done. I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to always reach my destination. Your time is limited. Don't waste it living someone else's life. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Believe you can, and you're halfway there. The best revenge is massive success. The only thing that stands between you and your dream is the will to try and the belief that it is actually possible. To live is the rarest thing in the world. Most people exist, that is all. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. The harder I work, the luckier I get. I find that the harder I work, the more luck I seem to have. The secret to getting ahead is getting started. Don't count the days, make the days count. A person who never made a mistake never tried anything new. We can complain because rose bushes have thorns, or rejoice because thorns have roses. Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you are doing, you will be successful. It does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. The only source of knowledge is experience. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. The only thing you can control is yourself. The present moment is a gift. That's why it's called the present. The purpose of our lives is to be happy. If you want to lift yourself up, lift up someone else. The only time to look down on someone is when you're helping them up. Life is 10% what happens to us, and 90% how we react to it. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Take the moment and make it perfect. The only limit to your impact is your imagination and commitment. The mind is everything that happens but the way you think about it. The first step toward success is taken when you refuse to be a captive of the environment in which you first find yourself. Your time is your life. That is why the greatest gift you can give someone is your time. The only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be. You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. The only way to deal with the future is to function efficiently in the now. The only thing standing between you and your dream is the will to try and the belief that it is actually possible. Do what you can, with what you have, where you are. The road to success and the road to failure are almost exactly the same. The only thing that is constant is change. The only time you should ever look back is to see how far you've come. Life is a journey that must be traveled no matter how bad the roads and accommodations. The only person who can pull me down is myself, and I'm not going to let myself pull me down anymore. The only thing standing between you and your goal is the story you keep telling yourself as to why you can't achieve it. The only people who never fail are those who never try. The more you know, the more you realize you don't know. The greatest lesson you might ever learn is to be humble. The only limit to our realization of tomorrow will be our doubts of today. The only true test of character is how you act when no one is watching. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. The only thing you can do about yesterday is learn from it. The only thing you can do about tomorrow is prepare for it. The only thing you can do about today is live it. The only time to do something is now, not tomorrow. The only real mistake is the one from which we learn nothing. The only person you should try to be better than is the person you were yesterday. The only way to predict your future is to create it. The only thing that stands between a person and what they want from life is often the will to try it and the faith to believe it's possible. The only way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. The only way to deal with the past is to accept it, move forward, and learn from it. The only lasting truth is change. The only source of knowledge is experience. The only people with whom you should try to get even are those who have helped you. The only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance. The only thing that is ultimately real about your journey is the step that you are taking at this moment. The only thing standing between you and your dream is the will to try and the belief that it is actually possible. The only courage you ever need is the courage to live the life you want. The only way to achieve the impossible is to believe it is possible. The only time a woman is helpless is when her nail polish is drying. The only thing that can truly destroy you is your own self. The only way to get what you really want is to let go of what you don't want. The only thing that makes life unfair is the delusion that it should be fair. The only way to find true happiness is to risk being completely cut open. The only time to be positive you have won is when the referee raises your hand. The only way to have a friend is to be one. The only limit to the height of your achievements is the reach of your dreams and your willingness to work for them. The only difference between a good day and a bad day is your attitude. The only real elegance is in the mind. If you've got that, The rest really comes from it. The only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be. The only real valuable thing is intuition. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. The only time you run out of chances is when you stop taking them. The only real mistake is the one from which we learn nothing. The only people with whom you should try to get even are those who have helped you. The only people who never fail are those who never try. The only thing that is constant is change. The only time to do something is now, not tomorrow. The only time a woman is helpless is when her nail polish is drying. The only true test of character is how you act when no one is watching. The only person you should try to be better than is the person you were yesterday. The only way to deal with the past is to accept it, move forward, and learn from it. The only way to discover the limits of the possible is to go beyond them into the impossible. The only way to escape the labyrinth of suffering is to forgive. The only thing that can grow is the thing you give energy to. The only way to deal with disappointment is to acknowledge it, embrace it, and then transform it.